Well, we were finally able to get away for our first kind of retirement couples kind of get out of town for a few days. And unfortunately, we ran into a situation where we figured out that some people just aren't very happy in their life.
Yeah, for sure. But even though our trip started off kind of a little shaky, it ended on a really, really good note. And I'm glad that we took it. We're going to share that with you today.
So when I announced my retirement, probably January or February, some friends of ours said, "Hey, let's plan a trip together for a few days to kind of get it kicked off." And you've actually met these folks. We did videos with them a few months ago.
Mark and Lori.
Yeah, Mark and Lori, they're already retired and or semi-retired, whatever you want to call it. So we planned this trip to go do some fishing, some guided fishing, a few days down on Beaver Lake in northern Arkansas, and then one day up at Table Rock Lake in southern Missouri.
Right.
And so, yeah, we've been looking forward to it, and it was going to be kind of our first official retirement sort of trip.
Yeah, and I think, you retired the beginning of May. May was a little bit chaotic for us. If you watch any of our videos, you know that. And so this really kind of was truly our first time of getting away and relaxing.
Yeah, just to do it because we
Yes,
can.
right.
So we had kind of split up the planning portion of it, and Mark, my friend, was setting up the guide for Beaver Lake in Arkansas, and I was getting a guide for Table Rock in Missouri, and Robbie took care of lining up our Airbnbs for the two different stays that we were planning, and that part went all fine. We did pay for the guide in Arkansas up front, and it just worked out. It was about the same cost as the Airbnbs, so we were kind of just splitting costs down the middle with us and the other couple, which was, we would have done it anyway, whatever the costs were. But that part worked out all fine.
Right. Yep. And then we had a guide lined up to take us out on a Monday morning. We went down the day before, got to our Airbnb, had some free time, got unloaded. Um, Last minute kind of a decision. We said, hey, let's throw in pickleball paddles.
Yeah, so we did. We threw in our pickleball paddles, and we got down to Rogers, Arkansas about, I don't know, 3 in the afternoon or so, and then we just looked up places to play pickleball.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're ever in Rogers, Arkansas, there is a really nice park they have with 8 really nice pickleball courts outside. It's called Mount Hebron Park. And we went there that Sunday evening, and we played pickleball for probably an hour and a half, the 4 of us. The courts were busy. As a matter of fact, we kind of left when we did because you could tell
people were waiting.
People were waiting, and there was kind of a set, the community on a Sunday evening, it sounds like they had just kind of open play set up, and we didn't want to be in the way. So we packed up our stuff around 6:30 and we got out of there and went out to dinner.
Yep, absolutely. Went back home, stayed at the Airbnb, and just relaxed.
Right. And then our plan was that actually the guide reached out to us, and we were going to meet him at 9 o'clock in the morning, about 20 minutes from where we were staying, to get out and do the fishing. Now, we were going to striper fish, which none of us had ever done. Mark and I are both, I guess we would call ourselves fishermen, him more than I. But the ladies, neither one of them, I think, would call themselves fisher people.
No.
So we were looking forward to kind of a guided trip where we could catch stripers, which, they're big fish, and we were really looking forward to it.
And I was looking forward to it because I don't mind holding a fish, but hey, if somebody wants to put the bait on the hook for me, take the fish off of the hook for me, I'm all for that. So I was all in.
So yeah, so we met this guy, and I think probably in the background here there'll be some or off to the side, wherever I can put it when I do the editing, there'll be kind of a picture of the place where he picked us up. It was very beautiful. The water's glass. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was just a gorgeous day. Well, the guide showed up about right at 9 o'clock, and he had some people on his boat already, so he had already taken out a trip before us, and he showed up, and as we're passing the people that are getting off and we're getting on, I commented to the young man that was getting off the boat, like, how'd you do? And he said, oh, we caught a couple. And then Robbie commented to who I'm assuming is this young man's mom.
Yeah, I just said to her, hey, how was it? And she said, it was awful. And she just kept walking. And I was like, oh,
Awesome.
Okay. And then the little boy, the young man, stopped and talked to me for just a little bit and told me about the couple fish he had caught. And fine, they went on their way and we got on the boat.
Yeah, as we were getting on the boat, I was really kind of surprised. The guide wasn't very talkative.
No.
He didn't help us get on the boat. He didn't really tell us where he wanted us to be or
Nope.
where to set our stuff. There were room for exactly the four of us in
Mhm.
four chairs
Mhm.
within the boat, plus him. And yeah, I mean, it was just the vibe he gave off wasn't.
It wasn't very pleasant. It wasn't welcoming. It was just kind of like, get on the boat. Okay, well, do you want us to sit anywhere? I need two of you here, two of you here. I mean, it's like you had to ask questions in order to get any type of a little bit of minimal information from him.
Yeah, and I guess I was expecting, here's what we're going to do today,
Right.
and kind of give us an
Summary.
idea, an overview of what
Yeah.
to expect in the
Yeah.
next 5 hours. And instead, he basically said, sit down here, we're going to go for a ride.
And then we took off and nobody said anything for a long
Yeah,
time.
probably 10 or 15 minutes down the lake we
Mhm.
went, and we came to the spot where we're going to start fishing, and he started rigging up the lines, and again wasn't really telling us anything. Like, none of us had ever striper fished before.
Right.
And I mean, I figured out quickly the plan was we were going to troll for the
Yeah.
striper, but had no idea what the expectation was.
But I mean, like, we were asking basic questions about like the line and the poles and like what were we using to fish with, live bait, or what were we doing? And it was just like pulling teeth to get him to give any type of information about what we were going to be doing.
Yeah, and I mean, and it wasn't like this was just a random guide
Right.
that we had just stumbled on. Like, Mark did some research.
Mhm.
This guy has had, fishing magazines on his boat. He's taken out. There's videos of him, and his name was Mike Bailey. He called himself Captain Bailey.
Mhm.
His website is beaverlakesafari.com. That's how
Mhm.
we found him, and that's
Yeah.
where we booked through. So we were expecting kind of a really polished
Yeah.
sort of guided trip.
Experience, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he got the 9 lines out, and they're all out the back of the boat. And
Mhm.
again, I'll run a little bit of video on here of the first fish that we were able to get on. But he didn't really. The only thing he told us was, if the line
Goes
tips
down.
all the way over, somebody grab the line and pull up on it.
Yep. Grab your pole, pull up hard.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's okay. So fine, but again, he was just gruff. Like, there was no like interaction, no like
Mm.
personality involved,
There was no
other
warmth.
than
Yeah.
jerkiness, I
Y
think. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and it was hard to tell, like, if he was I was struggling, is it a dry sense of humor? Is he just super sarcastic? Or is he just kind of a grouchy old man?
is he trying to protect
Mhm.
his fishing knowledge, I guess, and
Secrets?
doesn't want to tell everybody? I mean,
Right,
literally, we couldn't really tell.
right,
But 10 minutes in, one of the poles goes down, and we didn't like react quick enough. So he quickly grabbed the pole and handed it to Robbie.
right. Mhm.
And she had never, like, this is something she's never done before. But I mean, she knows how to fish. So she
Yeah.
knows she starts to reel. So she starts to reel. And the whole time he is, again, I think the video will probably be running here now. Um, the whole time he's like, just standing there, like, just saying,
He's
reel
not
it in. He's like, it's not very big. Reel it in, reel it
Oh,
in.
this is the little one. This is the little one. I mean, and I'm like working with all my might to try and get this fish to come in. And it just like I just didn't feel like there was any guidance from him. And I didn't really know what I was doing as far as I've never caught a striper before. So I mean the fish was fighting me and you'll see it in the video. Like I was kind of like being pulled. Like I was working hard to stay upright. And then he was like, put his hand on the pole and just shoved it over and was like, "Don't ever follow the fish."
The
You
fish should follow you. You don't follow the fish.
I'm like, "Okay."
And I'm assuming it's because we were going to cross over their lines, which
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wondered about. Like, and again, he didn't tell us anything. So,
yeah,
like, but the fish went, and then, I guess, to make a long story short, she got the
yeah.
fish in.
I was excited.
Yeah, I'll show a picture of the fish that she caught here, but he was like dismissive.
Yeah,
Like,
very, very much
never
so.
said good to go or nice job or anything.
Yeah.
Just basically like, oh, this is barely legal, and
Mhm.
went back and measured it, and just tossed it into the cooler. And
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, "Man, that's the biggest fish I've ever caught." I was
right,
pretty happy.
it was just It was tough. I mean, I'll tell you, 10 minutes in, as soon as we stopped and he didn't talk to us and I walked back to Mark and I just said, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
And Mark, he agreed with me. But again, I don't want to beat too heavily on the guy,
Yeah.
but we spent
were gonna make the best of it.
we spent the next 5 hours with him, didn't catch another fish.
Zero. Not
Zero.
one. I don't even know that we had a bite.
Well, I think there were a couple that we thought were bites, but when we
Okay.
pulled up on it, there was
nothing
there.
Yeah.
But and he wasn't making jokes. It wasn't like personable at all.
Let's just say it was a long 5 hours.
Yeah, and he was kind of mad because we had sunscreen on because
my
the
gosh.
sunscreen could damage his stuff.
It was smoking hot.
And he said he'd take his skin cancer like a man. Like it was just it was baffling to me that this guy could be an apparently successful guide and just be this way.
It just had such a strong feeling of he didn't like people. And I kept thinking to myself, why are you a guide to people if you don't like people?
Right.
Like, don't work with people if you don't like people. But
yeah, and I've fished long enough to know, like, okay, you can go 5 hours without catching a fish, and we paid him already, so he's gonna keep us out there for 5 hours not catching fish. I don't hold that against him at all. The fact that we didn't catch fish, it was just kind of the way that he was being about the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And then at the end of that 5 hours, he's like, okay, tomorrow, because we had him for 2 days, tomorrow we're going to meet at 4:30 in the morning, and we're going to try this again and see if we can do better, as the sun's coming up.
And we're all like, okay, great. We'll give it another shot. We want to catch fish. Let's try it at 4:30 in the morning instead of 9 o'clock in the morning, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. So we'll see you tomorrow. Well, we're all up at 3:30, getting ready to go, getting ready to walk out the door at 4 a.m. And my friend Mark gets a text. And basically the text says, I'm going to have to cancel this morning. We lost our son last night. He would have been 28 in September. And we can reschedule or whatever. Again, I apologize. Sorry for the inconvenience. And
immediately, like, Lori and I are like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Like, I'm thinking, holy buckets, this guy's lost his son. Like, something happened to his child. This is horrible.
And I just lost my nephew last month, same age as this kid would have been. But there was just something about it. And Mark and I looked at each other, both of us former law enforcement, probably a little cynical in general. And we're like, okay, something's fishy here. It doesn't feel right. Okay. So, but anyway, we sent him a text back and said, very sorry to hear this. No problem. We'll catch up about, getting our money back or rescheduling at some point in the future. And we went back to bed.
We did. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm very curious about stuff like this. So Lori and I, we kind of like start looking at obituaries, or we're looking at Lori's
trying to find news stories or whatever, something where a young man would have died around there. And I mean, I guess it's possible that he wasn't around there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we got up later that morning, packed our stuff, and we headed to Shell Knob, Missouri, which is on Table Rock Lake, where we're going to fish next. So we get to Shell Knob, and we're
there much earlier than we anticipated, because we thought we were going to be on Beaver Lake fishing for 5 hours that morning. Get to Shell Knob, and Shell Knob is wonderful. It's a little tiny place, and we're like, what are we going to do?
Well, first we got there so early that the Airbnb, we had number one, the Airbnb that we had in Rogers, very nice.
Yep.
It was a nice setup. The Airbnb that we had in Shell Knob was also very nice.
Yeah.
And that host in Shell Knob, she let us come into the place like early. 3.5 hours early than we were supposed to, so that we could get, we told her what happened and she let us come in early. So we're there early, and we did the same thing we did in Rogers.
Found a pickleball place.
That's right. And so if any of you are ever visiting Shell Knob, Missouri, and you play pickleball and you're looking for a place to play, the Central Crossing Community Center.
Yes, in Shell Knob.
Indoor
facility.
Has 2 indoor pickleball courts. They're brand new.
Very nice.
It cost us $5 each to play, but we played both days we were there.
Yep.
And we had a great time in there. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, there was nobody else there.
We had one local gal that stopped the one day, and she played with us. Like, we just rotated her in. But the second day we were there, it was just the 4 of us.
Right.
Nobody even used it. And these are beautiful facilities. I mean, it really truly is a beautiful
Yeah, it was very nice. Somebody donated it. I think
Yeah.
they said it was
$300.
$300,000, but it's a beautiful place. So anyway, if you're there
Go
and
play
you're looking
pickleball.
for a place to play pickleball, that's the place to go. So
Yes.
anyway, that was on Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday morning we're supposed to meet our guide to
Mhm.
fish at Table Rock.
Not gonna lie, we're all kind of like, a little on I was a little bit anyways, like, "Okay, wait, I think we got screwed on this last one. Gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Only caught 1 fish. All right, please let this be better."
So I'm communicating with the guide via text, and he tells us we're going to meet at 6 a.m. Gives us a place to meet. So we meet him at 6 a.m. the next morning, and right from the start, it was 180-degree different
Oh my
experience.
gosh, he was amazing. Keegan was amazing.
Yeah, his name is Keegan Lathrum.
Mhm.
His service is magicspotfishing.com,
Mhm.
I believe. I will link to it below. I will probably put it on the screen here so that you can do it. I can't recommend him enough.
No, he was fabulous.
Yeah, we got in the boat. He told us what we were going to be doing. He said, we're going to take a ride for a while. Here's where I need you guys to sit. He was super personable.
Yeah.
You know, he could tell that the ladies weren't exactly seasoned fishermen,
Avid
and
fisherwoman.
he helped them out
A lot.
100% of the time.
Mhm.
He joked along with us, like
Mhm.
we're very sarcastic sort of people when we're around our friends, and he jumped right in and was part of it.
Mhm.
And maybe most importantly, or what we're paying him for,
Mhm.
is he put us on the fish.
Yeah, he was amazing. Every single spot we went to, we caught fish. Every single spot.
Yeah, and again, I'll have some videos running in the background of each of us catching some fish and some photos. We had an amazing time with Keegan.
Mhm.
We were with him for 6 hours. He told us right at the beginning, "Hey, after 4 hours, if we're not catching anything, I'll take you back, and you only pay for the a
4 hours.
partial day."
Yeah.
And we're
Mhm.
like, "Okay, but if you think we can catch fish, we're in for the 6." And we did end up staying for the 6. I think we caught almost 30 fish, 29 fish between
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
He was keeping count.
Yep.
Um,
He just made it fun. It was fun and relaxing and exciting. It was all of those things wrapped up in one package. He's exactly what I would have expected for a professional guide.
yeah, but funny enough, as we're getting on the boat with him, he asked me how fishing in at Beaver was,
Mhm.
and we told him the story, and he started laughing right away.
We learned a new word.
We did learn a new word.
Yeah, because he he started laughing right away, and he said, "Oh, you guys got Ozarked," and we were like, "What? What are you talking
He
about?"
said that Ozark as a verb.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, he scammed you. You got there's." He said, "I'm 90% sure that his son that losing his son was BS, and he just
Mhm.
didn't want to go out with you guys again on the second day
Yeah.
after the experience that you all had on the first day."
Right, right. So that was kind of the joke of the day as we spent the day with Keegan, that we talked back and forth about it, and, um
We even pulled up next to another guide at one point, and he tells this other guide the story, and that guide started laughing right away,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What a bunch of crap."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
especially when they found out that we paid up front, because
Right.
little did we know that that wasn't customary, was
Right.
paying up front. And by the end of the day, Keegan was like, "I've changed my mind. I'm not 90% sure.
I'm 98%
I'm
sure.
98% sure you guys got Ozark." So, but again, it was our time with Keegan made up for the time that we had with
Yes.
Mr. Bailey in Rogers.
Yes, absolutely, and in fact, we enjoyed Keegan so much, we invited him to come out for dinner with us that night, and he did,
And
and
he
that
did.
was just really cool to just sit down and have a meal with him. Yeah, we just can't say enough good things about him. He was amazing.
Yeah, you'll see a picture of Keegan with Mark
Mhm.
and I holding the
Holding
fish
fish.
right with the
Yep.
sun coming up over
Yeah.
Keegan's head. It's a really nice picture, and we had a great time, and I can't recommend him enough. And we'll definitely do it again. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, I'm already planning to take my dad and stepmother
Mhm.
down to see Keegan later on this fall, and we'll do some walleye
Walleye
fishing.
fishing. Mhm.
And he says he's going to go do some guiding in Texas over the winter, and he very well might see me again.
a little bit of a follow-up on the whole Mike Bailey thing. Essentially, Mark did send him a text that basically said, hey, we're not going to be able to come back down and reschedule a time to go back out striper fishing with you. So if you could, please go ahead and refund that money to my credit card. And when should I expect that? And then Mark also did put in there, you know,
Very sorry
very
for your
sorry.
loss.
Yes.
We're praying for you and your family.
Right. Yep. And maybe a day went by, but
Right.
eventually Mr. Bailey did respond and said something about
I've
don't
never had to refund a credit card before, so I'll figure out how to do that and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And here we are
3
a week
days,
later
4 days later.
and haven't,
Yeah.
well, it's a week
Oh, I
ago
guess it
today.
has.
So,
Yeah.
you know, 5 or 6 days later from the time and haven't heard boo from him. We're
So
hoping
we'll
we get
see.
our money back.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to take it as a lesson learned, but
Right.
might not have been the last time Mr. Bailey's heard from me or my friend Mark. We'll see.
From 2 ex-police officers or former police officers.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But all I can say, so why are we talking about all this? Again, our first kind of getaway as a retired couple. We went with another retired couple. Turned out to have a great time, despite how the one of the days went.
How it started, yeah.
But you know, the best part of it was I didn't think about having to go back to work.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. I didn't think about what's happening at work. Yeah. I didn't think about any of that. And that felt really good.
Yeah. There was no pressure to like get home real quick so we could get everything done because Rich had to go to work the next morning or, you know, or we had the next thing planned or whatever. It was very relaxing. It was.
Okay. So that's how our first trip went. Disaster and wonderful. I think one part was horrible. The other part was awesome. Yep. So hopefully, you know, tell us how your kind of first adventures have gone in your retirement, or if you're not quite there yet, what do you think you're going to do? Yeah, right out of the gate after you retire, and share that in the comments. And let's let's continue to grow this community a little bit and see where it takes us. If you have any specific questions for us, let me know. Again, I'm going to link to Keegan and his fishing service on the video and probably down in the comments. If you decide to go see him, make sure you let him know that I sent you to him. He said he'd love to be a part of our channel. So here you go, Keegan. I hope you get some business from this. All right. If you don't remember the video, or if you didn't watch the video where Mark and Lori sat down with us and talked about how their start to retirement went, I'm going to link it somewhere on the screen here. So go watch that one. We really appreciate you watching our channel, and God bless.